We are reporting to an assembly here in the United States, June the 7th of 2026, and we're using this report for you also in the country of Bangladesh. And we thank you for your standing with us in our work through the years. I trust that this will be an acceptable way for us to report to you, because at our age now and with some medical issues, we're not able to come to be with you in person now. We are Larry and Sally Fogle. This is our final report to you before our retirement from a service at the end of July of 2026. We are completing now 50 years of work internationally, and we appreciate all of those who have stood with us financially to make this possible. Our most recent work, I do need to report to you, this church in the United States has been with us for 50 years now, the entire time we have been with this organization. And I want to thank you folks here in person and those of you who are listening as this presentation is made available to you overseas. The work that we've been involved in has been an exciting work for us, involving short-term teaching trips internationally. What kind of work did we do? It was a teaching work. Conferences, seminars, class modules, particularly aimed at leaders of assemblies. We're especially focused on the enrichment and encouragement of the primary leaders of those assemblies. We have many things to be thankful for. Just let me list them for you. 76 overseas trips have been completed. I'm not talking about any of our team members. These are just the trips that I have done. Rarely, my wife has been able to accompany me, but that involves extra cost, so she has not normally done that. In addition now, especially in these last several years, as I'm not able to travel overseas so much myself, the younger men on our team are doing those trips. But I have been involved in 15 teaching trips in the United States now. Some live stream teaching for overseas locations, and others where I have either flown or driven to certain locations for certain teaching responsibilities. We had as many as 5 couples at one time, but the fifth who had joined our team went into the hospital with COVID in 2020 and did not come out alive. So his wife just retired. And then we had another of our full-time couples who did retire officially 2 years ago. We will be the next ones to retire. That will leave only 2 couples. We thank the Lord that there is another younger couple that is in discussion right now about the possibility of joining our agency in order to become another full-time team member with his wife. Coming out of ministry here in the United States, and he will become a full-time team member, assuming that his 2 planned test trips go well for him, and that our people on our side also get good feedback about the way he handles that, to see if it's a good fit for him. We have right now 12 additional adjuncts who have already been approved. That means part-timers, people who are doing another work, but once or maybe twice a year. They travel for us to help us with our teaching responsibilities. I have already been approved in advance by the others on our team to be an official adjunct the day that we retire from our current work. Then we will become adjuncts, and we appreciate our team's confidence in us. In addition, we have 10 others who are potential adjunct teachers for us. They are eager to become involved in this work, but we have a requirement. We want to see them on a couple of test trips too, to see their flexibility, the way that they respect the internationals, how logically they present the materials, how much on focus they can remain with the notes that they have to get through for that class. But these are just waiting for their turn in line to become approved as well. We've had hundreds of numerous positive responses, particularly decisions that are being made in the area of the course that has just been taught about. So what kind of changes or adjustments do you need to make in your life so that you can become more effective in your work wherever you are located in the world? So we appreciate very much the way people have appreciated the teaching work that we have done. We've seen special provision for all of our trip expenses, and this may mean not just hundreds of thousands of dollars, but I would guess perhaps as much as $250,000 God has provided for this expensive work, over and above our own living expenses, as God has provided for all of those trip expenses. We didn't know in the beginning how we would cover all this travel, but those who have supported us have given special gifts, and that is part of the provision that we have seen. We've had repeat invitations to many of these locations. The team has been able to teach in 6 different languages. So other than that, if we're dealing with minority languages or dialects, somebody has to translate for us, and that cuts our teaching time down in half. You understand? So it has been a real challenge to work with translators, but we've had some excellent translators around the world who have helped us to accomplish our goals. Our team has been able to teach in English, of course, that's number 1, French, Sango from Central African Republic, Spanish, Portuguese, and Romanian. And having those language abilities on the team allows us to be able to teach more effectively, I believe, and in more detail for the subjects that we teach. We have offered not only a variety of various courses, but we've been offering a series of 12 courses to certain countries that want that series of courses leading to a certificate. So we've been able to offer that series to them, and we keep going back to those locations so that eventually numerous people will be able to graduate from that program. It's a very casual program. They don't have to pay tuition, and they don't have to take any tests, but they're just there like they go to a class with a large number of people in an auditorium, and we're able to teach them, and their purpose is just to learn all that they can learn. The team has now taught in 29 different countries, and it seems that every year there's another 1 or 2 that is added. Right now, a new one for us that is in development, possibly to teach there later this year, 2026, is the Dominican Republic. So we will send one of our Spanish speakers to teach there. We're using our courses now, even in the U.S., to train people to serve. We are having some other agencies offer us teaching opportunities now. These are agencies with international contacts that are developing who are asking that agency to help them by providing some teaching, some training. And these are agencies with no experience overseas. And so they have turned to us saying, look, this is what you do. Would you be willing to go on our behalf? Now, there are some agencies that we would not be willing to cooperate with. You understand that. But after doing some investigation and with the approval of our sponsoring agency, we can go ahead, and we have begun. We're already doing this in Mexico and in Ghana. Our next priorities for other agencies are South Africa and Georgia, not Georgia down near Florida either. We have some new teaching initiatives in the United States. We're offering serious training for people in selected U.S. assemblies. We teach the same 12 courses that we have started to teach and have gone through the cycle several times overseas. The same courses which we believe are most essential for somebody who wants to serve in assemblies but haven't been given that opportunity to go to training schools. That just wasn't the way their lives developed, and so they're involved in other occupations. But they're faithful in these assemblies, and they would like to have the opportunity to have courses like those that are offered in those training schools. Some are calling this training in a suitcase. What kind of teaching is this? Many have said we could do all of our teaching live streamed. And we say we really prefer the in-person teaching with the interaction with the students. And we do this with no tuition, no tests, no grades, and we're able to do that because of the financial help that we are given by various assemblies and various individuals. So that's why we're thanking you. The host assembly makes all the decisions and handles all the details. All we do is offer a teacher to come on site and to send ahead of time the materials for that course so that they can print and bind them. So we just show up and do the teaching and interact with their students. This provides training for those in that host assembly and for others in the area that they will invite to join them for that training. Our organization, I'm proud to say, sees this as a way for us to give back to our American supporters. Now, we started teaching in southeastern Washington as our pilot program or our test program. We had never done this before. We didn't know how it would work for us, how it would work for the church. But the way they set it up with some evening classes and then all day Saturday to finish up, it seemed to work for them, and so they've said, yes, we want to continue. And now I just show you a couple of those pictures because they're in a larger tri-city area with a number of those assemblies nearby. They can get a group of about 35 average for the classes. And again, there are no grades given, no papers to write. It's just as easy as it could be for them, but they come very serious about wanting to learn because they've never had the opportunity for this kind of more serious training before. Something that every pastor would want to make available to his people, but how can a pastor handle all of these detailed courses along with all of the other responsibilities of that leader? So I just show you a couple of those pictures. Not only in Washington, but we've offered to leaders in several different states to teach that series of class modules to help them train people in their area. We have now concluded the negotiations with Michigan to start a new series of these classes in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. So I show you several of these pictures just from last year as I taught the first course in that location. Now, in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, there's a smaller population. They're spread out in small towns. The assemblies up there are smaller. And so they have been averaging 13, 14 people. And those 13 or 14 need to be taught. So there are morning breaks for drinks and snacks in the morning, and then they provide lunch every day for the people who attend the classes. So that's the group. It's a small class. Should we not teach them because it's a smaller number? No, that isn't our approach. Now, I've had 2 part-time roles for these last 6 years, going on 7 years now. First of all, the work with that teaching work that we've been involved with. We continue, even now, until retirement, officially, still serving with them as before. I limit my teaching to shorter U.S. trips in light of some medical issues and my age, my diminishing energy, and some virtual teaching. I concentrate also many hours on the computer every day for overseeing the translation of our courses into French and into Spanish. And then I am the final editor who does that final edit and formatting of those course materials for getting them ready for printing. And then part-time donor relations, as we work with a charitable organization, a nonprofit, serving as their representative since 2019. This is part-time, you understand, and I've had to balance these 2 different kinds of work. And then speaking in assemblies to represent our organization. Finally, making thank you visits to individuals who give to help our people, our workers. One extra part-time work that we did between 2022 and 2024. You were hearing about this in our newsletters. We helped a struggling assembly. This was a small gathering in Jackson, Michigan, 2 hours from home, a biracial group in a black community. The numbers kept diminishing. They were looking at the possibility of having to close their doors. We could not become their official leader. We lived 2 hours away. We could only visit them an average of once every 6 weeks. You can't be their leader under those circumstances, but we tried to give them a little bit of love and encouragement and guidance, help them to think through some options for how their assembly could begin to thrive again. What they really needed was a part-time leader in the community, somebody who was there constantly. But we searched in vain. And then finally God stepped in, and in June 2024, God provided an excellent leader for them. The group did grow under that leader, but then they faced some problems, and it became obvious that there were some in that assembly who weren't eager enough to grow that they would follow that leader. And because they were not willing to follow him, the numbers dwindled again, and that person ended up having to resign. Now on our side, we helped them back then for 2.25 years. We are not willing, we have agreed between ourselves, and those to whom I turned for advice agreed, we are not willing to waste our time and effort simply to prop up a small group of people who are back to their original situation and have proven themselves really not willing to benefit from the help that we tried to offer to them. So that group is just meeting now, listening to videotaped teaching. And they see the handwriting on the wall, that they will end up having to sell their building, their property, and I am encouraging them to do as they had originally said that they would do if they had to sell, to give all the proceeds to another similar kind of work in the future, instead of the people in that small group remaining in the church benefiting from the assets that they would get from selling the property. So that's a little report on something that you had heard in the past. Now we are wanting to identify another small or struggling assembly within a couple of hours from home that we might be able to help in a similar, flexible way. Just wanting to be an encouragement and a help to that kind of a work. Now, I need to finish by talking to you about a few medical issues. Sally is doing fine, but Larry, on the other hand, he's had some problems. Since December of 2023, I ended up with symptoms of an impending heart attack. Didn't have the heart attack, or I might not be here today, because what they discovered when I got to the emergency room was the major LAD artery, which is commonly called the widowmaker. It was 95% blocked. So I might not be here today if we had not gotten to the hospital and gotten the care that I needed in time. But I had a heart catheterization and a stent put into that artery. I followed with several months of cardiac rehab, and through the process I lost 35 pounds, which helped me in numerous ways. We've been pretty careful with our diet, different nutritional decisions that are trying to maintain me so that I won't end up with saturated fats blocking that artery again. And there have been some other issues as well. Acute pancreatitis. The day that I finished my cardiac rehab, the very day that I walked out of the gym for the last time, I ended up that evening in the emergency room in the hospital with severe pain in my abdomen. And they determined that it was a case of pancreatitis. They tried to determine the cause of that, what had irritated the pancreas. That led eventually, after another year or so of follow-ups and medical tests, that led to my gallbladder being removed. And I've had no negative repercussions from that, and I'm doing well that way. And then, just after I thought I was stable, then I had 2 serious TIAs. These are those very temporary episodes of numbness and weakness on my whole left side. And that eventually was followed up by carotid surgery to actually go in and clear that 80% blockage, which was causing a lack of blood flow as normal to my brain. So I'm thankful that I have not had any major strokes. That carotid surgery was intended to be preventative so that not only would I not continue to have those serious 3 to 5 minute episodes of the numbness and weakness, but also it would eliminate the possibility of a major stroke which could have finished my active work, even anything in retirement like that. Now, our plans for retirement: we will retire officially from our agency the end of July 31st, and I've told your leader that our agency will be sending out a letter to you as one of our supporting groups of people, so that you will know that we're not expecting any of our supporters to continue with their support after our retirement. Now, some churches are telling us, as your pastor mentioned to us, the possibility that your support will continue for a short while after we retire, but we are expecting that will be eliminated. And I want you to know, and that letter from our agency will tell you, that we have assured them that we are in good financial condition to face our retirement. So we want to tell you we're serious about that. And we would be pleased to give you recommendations about somebody else, younger and stronger, to whom you could transition your support. But you probably have certain people already that you've had your eyes on, and we encourage you to go ahead and take those steps. Now, we will have some things that we want to do in our retirement that may not fully be covered by our retirement income that we're anticipating. But the fact is that we've already heard from other supporters who have indicated to us that they will be continuing with our support, at least to some percentage, some level. And I think that is going to be able to cover even any expenses in the future for other ministry things. So not only is our living expenses cost assured through our anticipated retirement income, but also we believe that churches may still be continuing to some degree to help us with certain ministry costs. Now, for example, if we end up making another flying trip out to Washington State to teach another course out there, our retired guys are the ones who primarily are going to be handling that. So there will be some cost there. But the fact is that we will still maintain one account at Baptist Mid-Missions, and even some who are getting our letters on a continuing basis after we retire, they will perhaps read occasionally a prayer request for a certain project related to one of the works that we're doing. And so There may be some that God will lead to respond to that. And God, the same one that we have trusted in the past to provide for us, we will see constant provision in the future too. Our trust is still in the same place. So let me just summarize for you what we intend to continue doing. We intend to continue to teach in the U.S. as an adjunct. We continue with our plans to edit and format the courses, one after another, helping our current organization, but on a volunteer basis and at a reduced pace. That is our goal. We have to slow down now. We can't keep up the pace that we've been trying to keep. We want to continue to serve assemblies in various ways. We would like to help another struggling assembly as we did in Jackson, Michigan. We've not identified that location yet. And maybe God won't open the door to us to do the things that we're expecting to do. Maybe we're dreaming that we will get invitations to do the kinds of things that we still have in our heart to do. And that in and of itself would indicate to us something about God's will. So we'll continue to look for clarity about how we should move forward. And then eventually we would like to do more in our home assembly, things that we've not been able to do because we are doing an itinerant work, traveling here and traveling there and teaching here and teaching there. And especially we might be able to help with some kind of leadership in that assembly, and teaching in that assembly, and encouraging among the people in that assembly. So I finish with these words for you, both here locally, where I am now standing and teaching on site, and also for you overseas who are seeing this report. Thank you. Please accept our sincere appreciation to you for your faithful support through so many years to allow us to do what has been in our hearts to do. Thank you so much. God bless you.